Welcome to the Built Bigger podcast. I'm Connor Martin.
I'm Kenny Grenner.
And we have a podcast that is dedicated to the fitness industry. I've been in the industry for 20 years, and now I work for Peloton and Precor, equipping gyms all across Texas.
And I'm Kenny Grenner. I own FitLab Solutions. We are a distributor for Watson and many other strength-based brands, and we build gyms across the nation.
Kenny and I have been talking about doing this podcast together for years. And what we're doing here is we're interviewing gym owners to give you guys the tidbits that are behind the scenes of building a gym empire. Today we have our guest, Jared Williams, who owns Dynamic Fitness. Dynamic has been around since 2009 and they are a Houston legend. So we're super excited to have Jared on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Jared.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you for coming, Jared.
So, Jared, let's just get right into it. You guys have been around since 2009. Let's get the story behind the brand. Why did you guys start, and kind of what made you say, hey, a gym is what I want to do?
Ooh, okay, here we go. I'll try to be able to keep the abbreviated version. We'll be all day if I talk about it. And when I get passionate about something, right, so I end up kind of elaborating more than what I should. So I came into this, played college football, and after graduating college, I moved down to Houston. So I'm like thinking, okay, I need to get a job, got a degree. I don't know what I'm really passionate about doing with my degree that I have in human science, right? So let's look at possibly getting to be a personal trainer, right? Because getting in the health and fitness industry, I love working out. Let me do that. I didn't think it to be able to be long term, and ended up getting a job at 24 Hour Fitness. Learned a lot from those guys, and that's really where I started kind of putting my imprint in fitness. Started as a personal trainer, worked my way up to fitness manager, and then one of these days I was thinking, okay, I could run a gym. This is easy. Anybody could do this. I don't know why I'm not doing this. So without even thinking, hesitating, right? I'm 26 at the time, and this is where I started trying to be able to put the plans together of opening up my own gym. Luckily, I found a place in Pearland that had been 2/3 of the way built, and now it was just just vacated and desolate, right? So I got caught wind of this and started looking at it as well. Started talking to the landlords. And keep in mind, this is 2008. Not the best time to be able to open up gyms or do anything. Me being 26, I really didn't care. I want to go all in, do this. I could do this. Everybody else doing this. Let me put my mark on it. Well, the only good thing about 2008 was landlord really didn't have many options. Yeah. So luckily, they gave me a chance to be able to open up in Pearland back in 2008. The only problem was I had no clue on how to run a gym at all. And it ended up being way more than what I thought, very overwhelming to say at the least. When we opened up Pearland back in 2009, I literally opened up the gym with 176 members. My first day of check-in was 78. Had 4 people check in at 5 o'clock. So red flag, this is bad. So luckily, me being so naive, right, I didn't really think of this as, a nail in my coffin. Thought it just was an obstacle. Well, went to talk to the landlord. Luckily, again, it being 2008, not much options out there. He was willing to be able to work with me. I put plans together. From there, I hustled, did everything possible. I went on, 518, holding up 4x4 signs. We went, pillaged Pearland with flyers upon flyers. And 9 times out of 10, if you live within a 3 to 5 mile radius of our gym in Pearland, there's a 90% chance I've been on your doorstep with a door hanger. So we did everything to be able to make it work. And luckily, right, by the grace of God, we started seeing some fruit of our labor, and it started going up, started doing well. We're out of it, and we started creating, a great atmosphere in Pearland. Started getting people to be able to come check us out, and now, we got now well over 3,000 members, and things are going good. What do? Without even thinking about it, right? I just got out of a hot seat. I want to go open up another club.
Jump right back.
So I'm like, all right, well, let's go open up another club.
I know how to do this now.
I know how to. Who cares the learning lessons, right? Let's go do this again. There are no obstacles. There are no repercussions. There's no risk of doing this. So I opened up Sugarland when I shouldn't even really open up at all. But anyways, we opened up Sugarland, got a good deal on the lease. Place has been vacated of an old 24 Hour Fitness for like man, like 6 years. Again, not the best time to open up clubs either. So we opened it up. Luckily, at that time, Bally's had shut down. Influx us in, kind of like right place, right time. And we opened up Sugarland. Sugarland ended up being a success. Can't tell you really how we did it, but it was more just about energy and getting it going. And then, now thinking about it again, boom, try to open up another club and then another club. But the next thing you know, it's, now 4 years into it, 5 years into it, I've now quadrupled my business without even knowing what even that meant. So young and dumb, a lot of mistakes with it. At that point, that was one of the biggest learning lessons of going into, man, open up a gym space. Because at that point, man, you're taking on the risk and the liabilities. And without really a game plan to build how to scale properly, that's where, man, I got hit with my first real big ton of adversity. So, but yeah, that's really how we started from the very get-go to how we are now. And again, right, the lessons learned across the way is just about overcoming obstacles and how to be able to expand and grow your business successfully. And it's just really it.
One of the questions that, it's an incredible success story, basically against all odds, right? You were naive, got into the business and worked your way through a lot of the problems that you encountered. For new gym owners and people who are looking to scale, what are if you had to give them 3 pieces of advice, what are the major 3 things that would have changed some of the outcomes and some of the hard things that you...
Oh my God. Okay, yes. Algorithm. Your business has got to be based on percentages. Everything's got to be. What's going to be dedicated back into repair and maintenance? What's going to be dedicated into payroll? So whatever your revenues are, you've got to be able to make sure that everything's being dedicated in the appropriate areas that's not only going to drive your business, but it's also going to maintain the greatness of what got you there. Yeah. It's a big thing when I got into it because I had no clue about percentages of CapEx or anything like that. It's like, we did this, we were reinvesting, right? Nah, man, it's a percent. So as the revenue gets higher, right, the percent doesn't change, the dollar amount does. So you've got to be able to reinvest more back into your biz, right, of just an accrual basis, because that's what keeps your product evolving. That's what keeps your product maintained and the level of excellence of what got you there to begin with. So that's where a lot of people don't understand with that. Second is going to be able to be cash. Okay, you need to understand on a business aspect what's going to really cost you to be able to open up another facility. And the biggest thing with that, right, I've done it in 2 different ways. I've done prepared and non-prepared. When you're unprepared and you don't have the cash, you start cutting corners. And that's what you can't do. You've got to be able to make sure that you understand exactly what you're getting into. And with the forecast, you have all your cards up front about what's in front of you across the board. And last but not least, what I've been spoiled with, we have a great team. You got to have a great team in place in order to be able to do this. And that comes from, me. I'm a hands-on owner. I'm not an absentee owner. I love being in the grind with my guys. I love being in the club, seeing what's going on. And, every day we talk about where we're trying to be able to take this and what we're trying to be able to do here in Houston. It really keeps everybody bought in about what we're doing and going above and beyond, because that's what you got to have in order to be able to scale at the next level. You got to have a team. It can't just be on you.
Yeah.
So 3 things right there.
What age did you start the business? And then what ages would you say you started to kind of wisen up in business?
Well, I tell people this all the time. I ran a business for 17 years, but I've really been running a business for 6 years. So I can call myself an entrepreneur or business owner for 17 years. It was wild, wild west. For so many years with this. I was 26 when I first started, and it really took COVID to really get to that level of where we were, because I had to go through hardships about me expanding way too fast, undercapitalized, and to live that 4 to 5 years of where we were at that point, and then experience COVID. It really shaped me about how to be able to look at things moving forward as a biz. And so that's really the things with it. I mean, it's I started at 26, 27. So again, man, it's like I didn't wise up till I was like 39.
Yeah.
Until I was like, okay, I get this now, somewhat, right? It always
Yeah.
changes, but I at least get it. To
Yep.
some point, we can maintain it.
Looking at COVID, at the time, I think both Kenny and I actually were managing and opening gyms, and we saw, and I guess across the nation, we saw an unprecedented number of gyms close and die during that time, right? Even gyms that we were both a part of, I know were really struggling during that time. So that was probably the hardest time gym owners have faced, as a whole in this country. Like what was the things that got you through, right? Because you said that like accelerated your growth as an owner.
So here's what COVID was: a terrible thing that happened.
Yeah.
Terrible thing that happened. What we had to experience as a nation, as pandemic across the world, right? The thing about COVID, right, for us, COVID was almost like a blessing in disguise for our biz. Because keep in mind, right, we were trained as Navy SEALs of turn of events and bad scenarios. We had been living a horror for 4 years of being undercapitalized, not having to be able to reinvest into our biz, and a business that was no longer thriving because we expanded way too fast. So all I needed was money. But in order to be able to get money from a bank, right? Well, man, you got to be doing well. If you're not doing well, you're not going to get money from a bank. If your business is not doing well, then you're not going to have no money at all. So we were stuck in this limbo. COVID happened, right? It was basically a godsend to wash away everything of what you experienced and what you have learned and put things and do it right this time. So I didn't wait. We had a lot of people that I was talking to that held on to the money. Some other people did stupid stuff with their money, but we went all in. I mean, I went 88 black, Russian roulette. It's either, man, we're going to make this thing happen or it's Skid Row for me.
Yeah.
So we invested in everything. We invested in marketing. Keep in mind, nobody's marketing is because everybody's don't know what's going to happen. We're investing into our clubs. We're now starting to show people, man, exactly what we're doing, how we're changing. We're starting to catch people's eye and attention, right? Starting to be able to bring in the amenities we needed to be able to be competitive here in Houston and really evolve and shape our brand. And by doing that, right, it really helped us set the tone for the next level of what we're doing today. And because we started doing this, because we had a little bit of cash and a little bit of retrieval, because people were given, rent forbearances and stuff like that, and willing to work with businesses to be able to help them survive, right? Well, we took that as just an opportunity to really fine-tune and do the things we wanted to do with our biz. We just could not do it before. Took full advantage of it, and that's what really helped us be born to what we do today. And because it's been a migration up, right? We have invested in marketing, reinvested back in the clubs and our R&M formulas, our CapEx formulas. We are just now comfortable of now what we've been doing now for the past 6 years. So it's just started as an opportunity with COVID that gave us the ability to be able to do that.
Nice. Well, I know you've been like doing a lot of improvements lately and also like going and visiting other places. What would you see as like a concept or trend that's out there that may be kind of shaping some of the things that you're trying to adopt in your clubs now?
Yeah, well, good question, Kenny. Is right now just what I'm just seeing across the board, right, is something just kind of outside the spectrum of normal. It's what people are starting to be able to do is I'm starting to bounce around. People want things that are unique. They want a unique experience. They want to have variety. So back in the day, right, when it comes to equipment, you would get one brand and you would just order one huge packet from one brand, and it would just be a nice row of whatever, down and organized with it. I mean, and you would just get a random, 2 leg extensions, maybe 2 prone leg curls, and kind of check the box. What I'm starting to be able to see now is those days are gone.
Yeah.
And what people want is they want variety. They want good biomechanics. They want things that is really going to help excel their workout and really going to be great of getting them fantastic results. And again, right, it comes back down to the workout experience. Back in the day at one of our clubs, we had 2 pieces of plate load. As you think about it, right, somebody comes in for a plate load. If they don't like these 2 pieces, you're just kind of like stuck out.
Yeah, you're stuck.
And then also, if one person's on them, well, that means that now that you only have one other option in our club. That really hinders people's workouts. people's fatigue of workouts and also keeping it fresh so people don't get bored as well.
Yeah.
Now you come in our clubs, right? Well, we'll have anywhere from 15 to damn near 20 pieces of plate load or chest options in general. So if somebody's on this one, no doubt, or we have 16, 17 other options you can go with us.
Yeah.
And then also if you want to be able to do one piece of chest times 4 for a workout, you do chest once a week. Well, it's going to take you at least a month to try all of our chest options, which keeps people entertained, keeps the workouts reinvigorated, and gives people a lot better chance of success.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think that's like because of Instagram, or what do you think is, like, if you were to sum it up, like, what do you think is the key source of people kind of changing it up in that way now?
I think it's a mixture of both, right? I think Instagram has really blown up people's awareness. Awareness is really educated the consumer. I was a personal trainer. Everybody want to be able to, tone.
Yeah.
Well, what is tone? I mean, you can't like shred fat. You want to see striations of the muscle. You want to be able to have, some sort of separation. Well, in order to do that, you've got to have muscle hypertrophy. You got to have muscle growth.
Yeah.
In order to do that, you got to lift. So I think now the consumers are becoming a lot more educated on what they want. And second is, I think the consumers getting more educated that anybody can do this, and people are becoming a lot more motivated and inspired. And the third is going to be, there's a lot more options that they could do when it comes to workout routines that's going to get them there as well. And now people want that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just curious now too. Like, not to switch subjects or anything, but like, I'm curious on like your like growing up, like what do you, if anything, do you think anything from your childhood kind of like sparked the ability for you to be a business owner or be, because obviously you're competitive, right? You play college football, you did a lot of different things. So like, is there anything that you can think of from your early years that kind of helped mold you to be who you are today?
Well, I come from a small town. It's Bridge City, Texas, around the border of Louisiana and Texas. It's Golden Triangle, Port Arthur, Beaumont, and Orange, right? So, the whole thing is my life, right, is I was always told, man, what couldn't be done. And that always fueled me to about saying, okay, if they're saying I can't do it, then I've got to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's been more kind of my fuel and my passion of what got me into entrepreneurship of doing this versus just me setting out there saying, hey, I'd like to make a lot of money or I'd like to open up my own business. It was just, how can I create something that people think that it's unobtainable to be able to do?
Yeah.
And how can I separate myself about what I do on a day-to-day basis that I'm proud of, that I can create, that's going to be outside the box of what's normal. And that's really it. And, so I had, great upbringing, great experience as a kid, and, football and competition has really been, my whole life. And I bring those things going into business, right? Because at the end, we're all here to compete.
Yeah.
You got to earn your spurs every damn day you walk into those doors.
For sure.
Just like football. And then football, it's, you need 10 other people in that huddle to win.
Yeah.
And you got to get everybody together in order to be able to win the game. It's not going to be one person doing it solo.
100%.
So bringing those concepts of football about team sports and also the competitive nature, that's what we do on a day-to-day basis. Especially being in Houston, where, man, it's just, we're in the lion's den of competition.
Yeah.
Man, you've got to have a little bit of grit about you and a little bit of insanity as well.
For sure.
In order to be able to not only survive, but to be able to wear the gold medallion and compete in this market.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point. I think, like, to your point earlier where you said, like, there's kind of like this balance, right? Where when you first started, it's kind of like naiveness that's just allowing you to be, I don't know if it's false confidence or what, but that just pushes you forward. And then through that process, you kind of sharpen yourself to be who you are now, right? So.
Well, I can tell you right now, Kenny, is like one thing that is just, failure is not an option.
Yeah.
It is not. Doesn't matter how many doors I got to knock on. Doesn't matter what we got to be able to do, how much I got to be able to work. You got to bring it home. It may not happen immediately.
Yeah.
That's where I think a lot of people give up.
Yeah.
Nothing happens immediately, nothing. And you got to be able to take risk, but you've got to be able to have the vision to see it through.
Yeah.
There's nothing that comes with no risk. There's nothing that comes with no headache, no letdowns, no disappointments. It's about, okay, at the very beginning, what was the original goal of your quest?
Yeah.
And you got to stick it through no matter what obstacles go your way, because if you want it bad enough, you're always going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Always.
It's funny that you put it that way, right? Because I think a lot of people, view the no's, the challenges as failure, right? But I think successful people view that as a learning opportunity, right? Like through all of the challenges, like you could have at any point been like, oh, this is failure, this is the end, right? But because you are who you are, you've gone, okay, I've been presented with this problem. How do I fix that problem? And I think that is a key thing that's missing from a lot of new gym owners who get into it for all the right reasons, right? They get into it because they want to make people healthier, they want to provide something for their community, they're invested in the fitness side of things. But as from the years that you've grown Dynamic, the experience of being a business owner is extremely important to come alongside the passion of, hey, I'm in it for just getting people fitter and providing a place. So I think it's cool to see and hear your story of you face so many challenges, so many things that people would say, well, this is the end point for me. Like I'm going to shut the business down. But instead of doing that, you chose to go, hey, I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to put that same passion that I took into, hey, I'm just starting a gym for people, into how do I learn how to operate the business side of things. And that's what I think makes you a unique story, and something that people should look at if they're starting out in the industry and go, hey, I'm going to reach out to Jared because, he faced all these things and overcame them.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, or a good point, Connor, with this, because as number one, I tell people all the time, if you're getting in business to be able to have money as being the common denominator about what you're getting into, you're going to make the worst mistakes possible. Because at the end, right, money is a byfactor of the product you create. And you got to be insane, and you got to have a clear, defined vision about what you're trying to be able to create, because that's what's going to make you make the right decisions. Money will follow eventually. Not like a set time. So, case in point, right? Back in 2016, after I scaled, I'm 4 times bigger. Right? I look good, right? I got 4 gyms. I look hot. Well, I'm making less money than I ever made coming out of college. So my W-2 in 2016, I couldn't even buy a house.
Wow.
Because the business is negative. My salary, I had to go down because we're not making any money. I opened up all these clubs with no cash. We're burning money. But I went through that hell for 4 years. To go through that every day and to have a positive outlook when you walk in your club, a product you are not proud about.
Yeah.
And what you want to do, but you just can't do it. I'll tell you one thing, man, it really shapes you to become another person at the end of that road.
Yeah.
And really makes you appreciate things when you got them. And then it made me a lot more level-headed about what needs to happen in business. I think what everybody needs to be able to go through. And it's a lot easier on my side, right? Well, it's like, you should appreciate the hard times. Yeah, it's a lot easier to say that when you're not going through them.
Exactly.
And you're the person saying the quote on the back end.
Yeah.
I get it. But had I not went through my experience of what I did because of a dumb decision, number one, we wouldn't have the Dynamics open if I was playing it safe to begin with. But second is the lessons learned from it, I probably would never have done it if I'd have played it safe as well. So there's a fine line.
Yeah.
But there's no way around the hardship. It's there. It's coming.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, man, you got to stay focused and keep, why you got in to begin with and what you're trying to create. And don't listen to anybody else, man. You're trying to be able to run your game, and you got to be able to see it through. I mean, that's really it.
What do you feel like? Because that's you. To me, you hit the nail on the head. Especially my experience in business, and I'm sure, like you said, everybody's. But like when you're going through those times, what do you feel like you ground yourself on? What keeps you level-headed? What like allows you to make good decisions and kind of keeps moving?
It's a little thing called fake it till you make it. There you go. It's because you got to tell everybody. I mean, back in the day, it's like, we're cash negative, but to the team, right? Yeah. We're gonna make this thing happen, guys. Yeah. This is gonna be everything. So you've almost got to psych yourself out. That looking back on where we were back in 2017, the product that was terrible. And then how far we came since 2017, it was nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah.
So you have, but where we are today is exactly what was in my brain the entire time.
Yeah.
And you've got to focus on where you're trying to get to, and it's going to happen. And if you do everything possible, because believe me, man, when I'm talking about everything possible, I've gotten so many no's from SBAs. I've gotten so many no's from landlords.
Yeah.
I've gotten so many no's from vendors. One thing about me, though, I never screw over anybody. And I'm always in great communication. All of my landlords, all of my vendors supported me through my hard times, but I was very open with them because I knew that if I didn't have their support, I wouldn't be able to do it. I knew if my team didn't believe in me, in the product, right, or what we're going to do, they would have jumped ships like rats off a ship, right?
Yep.
So those are two things, man, that are very imperative when you're going through that.
Yeah.
You have to fake it till you make it, and you got to get your team to believe, and you, that this is going to turn the corner any damn day.
That comment on your team specifically, that's something that I think both Kenny and I have experience with, working with you as vendors. Your team is exceptional as far as the quality of your GMs, the quality of your trainers in your facility, the quality of your operations experts, right? You invest in your team, and it shows, right? And one of the things that I think that that speaks to is the focus that you had during those hard times, right? Because those guys stayed with you, right? There's so many employees that I see you post about on LinkedIn where they've gotten a promotion and they've been with you for 10 years, for 12 years, for 15 years, right? And people don't stay through hard times if they don't believe in their leadership, right? So how did you, I guess maybe we're reiterating some of what you just said, but how did you keep those people's spirits high and keep the weight of, hey, we're actually going through some shit off of them during those times, right? Because it's so easy as a leader to just be like, to get angry and like take it out on the staff that it's not really their fault, right?
Yes, and believe me, I did probably my absolute best in the years that we were going through hardship. Sometimes I made mistakes just like anybody else, just the brute weight and stress of everything, right? It's kind of hard to not get upset with people, right?
Yeah.
But my team, my guys are great. They're bought in what we do. Our average manager, I think lifespan with us now is like 8 years. I mean, one of my GMs been with me since I opened the door at Pearland back in 2009.
Wow.
But the one thing that I always do with them, right? Like I remember the COVID meeting when we had, where afterwards I almost like wanted to cry and throw up afterwards, was like where I'm telling everybody, guys, we're going to make it through this. I mean, this is, man, we've got to look at this as an opportunity, right? So obviously, right, I had no clue how we were gonna do it. But again, my whole thing about my team, right, I'm very vocal with my team. I invest in them. I want the best for them. I want the impact of hopefully what I'm creating, not only to impact my life, but I want to be able to impact their life as well. Yeah. And they're to be proud to be a part of a story and a product of whatever we're creating versus running a lame business, right? I mean, that takes the fruit out of the relationship, and you're just running a business. You just got employees. About creating a story, creating a product, man, and hopefully we can put a legendary mark about what it is of what we're doing, and they can be a part of that story, and it could impact their life as well. Yeah. But always controlling the narrative. That's one thing that somebody told me one time, and it always stuck. And if you don't control the narrative, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Control your narrative. Control your narrative. Let everybody know what's going on. Control the narrative. Focus on the positive. There's shit tons of negative that we can dwell on, that we can't do anything about. There's no use in even wasting any energy on it. We got to talk about the things that are positive. We got to talk about the things, how are we going to be able to make this happen? Because if we do it right, that's legendary. Mm-hmm. And we found that if we focus on these things with the team, right, it kept them thinking about the stupid crap that we can't control. And it kept everybody focused and positive to be able to stay on a goal about what we were trying to be able to do. So that's really it, man. It's really being open communication with your staff. Your staff has got to trust you. So that's a big thing with me. I was like, man, with me, it may be hard to work for. I may rant, ramble, whatever it is. But man, one thing people can't tell me, man, that I've ever cheated them or anything like this.
Yeah.
Is if you didn't work with me, that means you just couldn't you couldn't hack what it is or what we were doing. But I'm never going to sit there and do anything to put my team in harm's way. And they've got to trust me with that about what I'm doing is going to put us in the right way for us to be able to win.
That makes sense. What would you say, and it's kind of like a two-part question, what would you say, A, you try to build the culture of your team and clubs around, and then B, which is a bigger question, what would the legacy of Dynamic look like in the future, in your words?
Yeah, good question, Kenny, with this. Well, I mean, our core value is going to be integrity, honesty, passion, execution. You got to have those four things. You got to, if you're not passionate about what it is and what you're doing, I mean, you got to hit the road, bud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I got to execute.
Yep.
You got to execute. So if you hold me to a standard, I got to execute. Well, I got to hold you. We're all dependent on each other.
Yeah.
Integrity, honesty, right? We got to do the right thing when nobody's looking. That's integrity. And honesty, we got to be honest with each other. It means candid, honestly, as well. I think it's good, healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And those things, but it takes work, right? When people say, is there a magic stick to culture? No. Culture is an investment, just like repair and maintenance, marketing, and CapEx expense. If you're not setting a marketing budget or a budget as well back into continuing ed and reinvesting into your people, right? Well, man, that's what's going to get you. That's what's going to hinder your culture and can hinder you from taking that thing to the next level.
For sure.
So I mean, you gotta practice doing it. The product, right? At the end, right? Man, I want them to be a part of something that they feel that they put a mark on. I want to do something fantastic, something legendary, something that isn't just the normal, right? And I want them to have a stamp of what it is and what we created, because they had every bit of creating it. And we took this thing to the next level when we had no rights to be able to do things to be able to get them. We're underfunded, right? Everybody now at Houston's private equity. And look at us, right? But we're still going to do it. We're still going to do it. We're still going to we're still reinvesting in our clubs as we are private equity, because at the end, right, that's what I believe in. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And I want them to be a part of that story. And it makes it so much more passionate to go to a quote unquote job. That, man, there's a destination. And then you get to be, again, a part of something bigger that you help create as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can like feel it when I talk to you, even before you explain that to me. I've known you since the Troy days, right? But I've always felt like this deep passion with you every time you talk to you. And it's, so just hearing you say that kind of redefines that, or kind of solidifies what I thought about you. So that's awesome to hear, man. And I think that's good that you're focusing on those things, because I feel like it's you, man. Like it's a good kind of standpoint. So I agree. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think one of the things, this year you came at HFA, we had the Precor booth, and you had 4 staff members with you there, right? And that stands out to me because not everybody does that, right? There's an owner, and he comes, he looks at all the equipment, and he makes a choice, and he delegates to the staff. But that's not what you were doing, right? You were having guys get on pieces, tell you what they thought of those pieces, talk to them about that, so they feel, because they honestly do, have an actual investment in your business, and they have an actual impact, right? It's not just you dictating to them. It's, hey, we're doing something cool together, and I want your opinion. I want your feedback. When you do that, like you said, you make people feel like they're part of something bigger than just the thing on paper, right? Like the sum is greater than all the parts added up together. And I think that's why you have people that have been with you since day one in Pearland, right? Because whether or not the vision is where they wanted it to be at that moment, or where you wanted it to be at that moment, they believe, because of how you're leading them, that you're going to get there. Kind of bringing up a separate point that I think a lot of new gym owners struggle with, because you're talking about communication, right? Vendor communication, staff communication. How do you manage all of that, but also have, I know you're a family man, how do you have a life outside of this business, right? And the communication, manage the communication, but also turn off for some events for your kids or your family, right? I know that's a skill, but it's hard to get yourself to a place where you can have that balance.
Yeah, that's a great question. Luckily, I really am blessed. My wife and kids are fantastic. My wife supported everything about what we did. She went through the hard times with me as well. And, COVID in the past, whatever, it's just, the hard work, late hours. I sometimes work Saturday, sometimes Sunday, and we're not making, she's always been supportive when it comes to this thing.
That's
And
awesome.
the thing is, what I've always tried to be able to do is manage my personal life just like my business life with this. Is, number one, right, my teams have budgets. And they are allowed to be able to operate in the confines of their budgets to be able to make decisions of what they've been empowered to be able to do under the budget that we have. We meet on it once a month. I'm pretty open with P&Ls with my higher leadership team. So they trust what we're doing. I trust what they're doing to be able to make these decisions. I don't have to be able to make every decision.
Yeah.
But second is I plan my personal calendar as well along with my professional. So like vacations, man, I got to book them. You know what I mean? If I don't book, I ain't going on them.
Yeah.
So I gotta plan them out there. So it's booked. So we got to do it. We got to go. And for me to be totally detached from the business, man, I'm obsessed, right? And my wife knows that as well. It has nothing to do with them or where I went. Man, I have a destination that I'm trying to get us to, and I don't let it consume me. But it's very hard for me to disconnect because I want to be there, and it's just if I'm here, somebody else is not there. So I'm taking a breather. They're not taking a breather. That means they're grinding. I'm not. Are they getting ahead of me? So it is a fair mental balance with this. My whole thing about telling this to other people is schedule it. You gotta show, like, if you go like on like the Rex trips, right? I go on the Rex Roundtable trips. I do 3 a year, but I've done 3 a year now since 2018. Now you times that, right, by that many years, that's how many different places I've been. But you got to do that with family as well. It's not like you got to sit there and take a whole week off or stuff like this, but you got to plan these little mini vacations.
Yeah.
If you plan like the 4-hour work week with Tim Ferriss, right? If you plan these little bitty mini vacations, it really helps justify what you're doing, gives you a little separation point, but also it's good things that you can have your family experience too. And over a course of time of reoccurringly doing it, right? You and your family have been to a lot of places. Your kids have got to experience things. You as a father, you feel a lot more proud of that versus like, I'm always busy and we can't get this stuff done. And time flies by, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So-
does.
100%.
What would you say like the final destination looks like? Obviously, I know that it's going to keep changing. The goalpost is going to keep moving. But like, what if you could explain it, what would that look like for you?
More, Kenny, more. Now, here's the thing with this, right? I told people, like, everybody asks me, okay, where's number 4 and where's number 4? We're going to do number 4, no doubt. But the whole thing about this lesson learned with this, if we have improved that to our members already and the people viewing, we are insanely dedicated to keeping a focus on finalizing a product. That's where I'm at number 1. Number 1, you got to have a product. If you haven't nailed your product, there's nothing to expand. I mean, you got to really think this thing through.
Yep.
So we're almost there. We dedicated 5 to 6 years of constantly reinvesting in our clubs, evolving this concept into where we're at today. So when it comes to this, absolutely, man, I would love, 10 to 20 different locations amongst the Houston area, and to be able to do something. And more so, us doing it is more than money. It's about that we did this.
Yeah.
People had no business of doing this.
Yeah.
We created something that wasn't, like funded, PE funded, publicly funded.
Right.
We started something from a concept, came over the odds of doing it, and we were able to be able to create this so everybody get to enjoy our brand across this great city, right?
Yeah.
And man, that's really it with it. And when it comes to our brand, right, everybody's kind of been seeing, we want to stand out. I'm tired of fitting in, tired of looking the same. The consumer needs something different.
Yeah.
Consumer needs a different taste, different motivation. So that's why inside of our clubs, you're going to find not only a different array of equipment, but man, anywhere from color schemes to equipment layouts, destination rooms, to sick lighting, to motivational quotes on the walls that people think that, man, they waste their money doing that. Yes, I wasted every dime of my money doing this because I believe in it.
Yeah,
I
no,
want
that's awesome.
a different product and a different outcome that we can say that, man, that's us.
Yeah.
That was us.
Yeah.
Versus, man, a business that does well that we make money on, but you're like, the product's okay. That's where I can't stand for. That's what I can't be about.
Yeah.
In your Baker Cypress location, that is a location where I don't think I've ever seen a gym go through as much of a transformation than that gym
is pretty crazy,
did.
yeah.
And like talk people through the things you did in the last year there, because I think it would blow people's minds.
I could write a book that says how to lose $2 million in the club before you do this. Okay, if you want to lose $2 million in a club, number one, be cheap. Okay, be cheap. Two, be underfunded. Three, don't market. And four, man, don't have a game plan. You will lose money in this business very, very fast.
Yeah.
So that was, I tell you what not to do, right? So what we be able to do to be able to kind of reconcile that. Number one, man, the landlord's there, great. They really helped out. We partnered together. We found a way to be able to make the relationship work on both sides. That club, man, we went through just where we started, right? So when Bally shut down, I built that club out for $10 a square foot. Oh my God, it was just, man, I reused Bally stuff that they had under maintenance. So like the pool area, man, we didn't replace the decking. We kept the pool, dry sauna, steam room. We kept it. We did very little amount to be able to replace tile because demo starts adding up money.
Yeah.
And we really thought that, man, that we were gonna, I really thought that we were gonna, do minimal investment and just make a shit ton of money. And it's like, man, it's just such the wrong principles of a business, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously now when you look at it, right, man, the amount of money that we've dumped into Barker Cypress from the very beginning, because when was the first time you saw Barker Cypress?
I think it was about 3 years ago.
Oh man,
I walked in there.
Yeah, you should have saw it, man, before COVID, right? It was even worse, right?
Yeah, but even 3 years ago to today,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a big difference.
I mean, it's nuts. Like I again, like I said, like I work with gyms all over Texas. Kenny does as well. I've never seen the amount of investment that you guys did there and the amount of change before and after in any gym ever.
So, so with this, right, I could tell you is a residual amount of money that we have dedicated every month, no fail, for the last 6 years that has just accrued over time to be able to be what it is. And that's why I try to tell everybody with this, right? If you don't want to write a big check, like land taxes or whatever it is, just accrue it. Just accrue it. But if you don't accrue it, it's never gonna. It's like investing.
Yeah.
You don't. Was it accrue and do passive investing? You're not gonna make big bucks on anything. So you gotta be willing to dedicate an accrual amount. So how we came up with it was crazy. So remember, pre-COVID, we weren't doing that great job, man, of reinvesting in our clubs.
Right.
So when we came up with, man, our game plan of how we were gonna make this thing great post-COVID. Well, we have a little bit of of a nest egg that we can kind of rely on now to get us great again. Well, Greg and the maintenance team have a repair and maintenance budget, so we're like, oh crap, man, I can't just dump the percent we're putting on Greg and them for a maintenance budget. We haven't reinvested in our club in like years, so we haven't even bought a kettlebell to replace the kettlebell that we bought 5 years ago. So we came up with a innovation budget on top of our R&M budget. So one was a percent dedicated to, I guess, my idiocracy, and the other was dedicated so he could repair and maintenance everything in the club to be able to make this go. What we found just over time, right? It was only supposed to last about 24 months, but so much changed, and we were able to cover so much ground. We're like, we're F it, man. We're going to keep dumping this percent of our revenues back into innovation on top of CapEx. So when I explain that to people, I get people very confused. Are you talking about CapEx? No. Not CapEx. CapEx is not a P&L. We're talking about an innovation fund of whatever it is that we want to be able to do that we don't want to CapEx, is not repair and maintenance. So that's what we came up with of the innovation fund that we're able to dedicate to clubs like Barker Cypress, that we're willing to forego a percent of their revenues just to accrue an amount that hopefully over time the members would have a better experience and we would hopefully have a better product within 12, 36 months.
Well, you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Tell you, man, Russian roulette.
Yeah.
18 black, baby.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so as far as like how you came up with that, was that just you and meeting with the minds and coming up with that? Because that's not like a common conversation you have with a gym owner, they're not talking about CapEx. Well, I guess some are, but not most, right? So like, how'd you guys come up with that foundation?
Man, something about me, again, knocking on all doors. If you were doing something, man, that's well, I want to know what you're doing. And I don't want to copy everything you're doing. I just want to learn from you. And I'm willing to be able to pick up the phone and talk to anybody and see what they're doing. And I'm pretty open with our stuff as well. Just learning different things from different PE organizations, from different successful clubs, and learn how they did, percent of cash, how they dedicated X amount of CapEx, and kind of created our own little formula on a spreadsheet that ended up kind of like, working for us.
Nice.
So it was something that just kind of created at the very beginning that we just started kind of tweaking and making modifications. We just got confident with it.
Yep.
And same thing with marketing. So it was just like, these are the things that have been kind of like the backbone of our biz, about what we were willing to forego percents of our revenues and EBITDA in order to see this thing flourish into the next level. So 9 times out of 10, if you're not a business owner and I pick on the phone calling people and just ask them, because people think they look dumb when they do that. Dude, I F up more than I win, but when you win, sometimes you win big.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
that's a great segue. How can people get in touch with you after this podcast? What are ways that they can reach out, and then how can they find Dynamic in Houston?
Oh, well, man, they see us on our website at thedynamicfitness.com. They can contact me at my email is jared@thedynamicfitness.com. Jared, like the jewelry store, and I like to talk shop with people. More than likely, your club. I've already been in your club if you have a club in Houston, and I like to build a gym hop and see what other people do. And I'm always up for talking shop for individuals, because it's not really the recipe for Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's not a secret ingredient with this, but you've got to be the insane motherfucker, man, that to carry it to the next level. And that's where it kind of separates.
Yeah.
From when I show people what we spend on CapEx, they're like, I don't know about that. Well, you got to be willing to do it.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee for anything. So that's really what it is, man. I'm always willing to be able to hit it up, talk shop with anybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Jared. This has been awesome having you on the podcast. This has been the Built Bigger podcast, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for
y'all,
coming
guys.
on,
Thank y'all.
Jared. Appreciate you.